Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome to my channel. On here, I like to look at memes, Reddit stories, and other weird internet stuff and just experience it with you. And today we are going to be experiencing gym bros. Right about now, you might be thinking, Hannah, what do you know about gym bros and gym culture? And I guess, first, before I answer, I am feeling a little bit sweaty, so give me just a second and then we can continue. Nice stretch. That's much better. Well, I've been weightlifting for 7 years now, and that includes all of last year when I was actively going through cancer and 4 cancer-related surgeries. I do feel a little bit qualified to comment on gym bro territory. My fun fact about myself today just has to default be I have tracked over 2,350 workouts in the span of those 7 years. And I am like one of those people who has to track it because I love seeing the data and the numbers. In true gym bro fashion, to keep me fueled today, I have a wonderful Orange Rush Gorilla Mind drink. Thanks, Derek. And to keep with just like the gym bro vibe, I have a really weird, obscure protein snack. Protein puffs in the flavor nacho cheese. Yum. They're actually like legitimately good to me, but I'm also a weird gym bro, I guess. 30 grams, 130 calories, 21 grams of protein. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. We're done with our warm-up, let's get into the real workout. This first one comes from r/dating advice. First date with a gym bro. Tomorrow, I, 22F, have a date with a guy I met on a dating app. The issue here is, he is a self-defined gym bro, and I'm very much not a gym person. Sure, I eat healthy and such, but I'm really not in shape and I fall more on the couch potato category. We've been texting for about a week, and I think we have things in common, otherwise I don't think we would have kept talking, but I'm a bit scared that when he sees me, he'll be put off by my body. I'm not a small girl, and I love my body like this. I'm very happy with it, but it's still difficult to ask someone else to be okay with it. I don't know, I'm just kind of venting right now, but yeah. Like, maybe we won't continue talking and it would be okay, but the possibility of it being because he doesn't find me attractive would still suck. In case anyone has read this, words of encouragement would be nice. One thing I am so eternally grateful for is that if everything goes as planned, I will never have to experience dating ever again. Dating is so hard, especially in this day and age where we have dating apps. Like Opie said, they met on a dating app, and you are in control of your own profile, so it's kind of up to you to make sure that you're representing yourself well, but also when you're swiping on people, you have to remember who's presenting themselves to you. Whatever they've chosen to put on their profile is typically them putting their best foot forward, both looks-wise and personality-wise. And before my husband and I met, I did use the dreaded Tinder. And sometimes it was fine, and I found some cool people on there. Other times it was not fine, and the vibes were just off because it's based off of literally just words and pictures on a screen. It's not a real human connection that you're starting with, which I think causes a lot of anxiety. Rightfully so. OP, in your situation, I say just relax a little bit. Clearly, he likes you to some degree. Otherwise, like you said, this wouldn't have gotten this far. And at the risk of sounding like kind of a douchebag myself, if you're really nervous about the physical aspect, take a look at your own photos that you chose to put out there to represent who you are, and ask yourself, are they based in reality? We've all taken a horrible picture here and there. However, there's a difference between like face tuning your photos to all hell versus taking a nice picture that's like, yes, that's what I look like. There's no editing, no lighting tricks, no crazy, no crazy makeup or whatever. And that honestly goes for men too. We all know the gym bro poses and the lighting, and it isn't just women. It's everyone. And we all have access to so many editing apps and abilities to alter how we appear online, especially with the increase of AI, that I think it's really important to be honest with yourself and with others. But again, maybe this is because I'm older and I've been through weird relationships and stupid crap with dating. But OP, if he didn't like you at least a little bit or see something in you, you wouldn't have gotten this far. And if he is a weirdo and is leading you on or superficial in the way that he sees you in person and is like, oh, she doesn't look like your photos, what the heck? Ask yourself, would you actually want to end up with someone like that? Because for me, no. If that's how someone interacts in this type of situation, they're telling you exactly who they are, and I think you should listen. Some comments read, as long as your pics represent you as you are, then he's into it. You will be fine either way, just have fun. Another comment reads, I, 34M, have been a gym bro for 15 years. I can say with full confidence, as much as women would love to think gym bros go to the gym for women's approval, we simply don't. We go for ourselves and our fellow gym bros. It has nothing to do with women. That's his hobby and lifestyle. It doesn't have to be yours, and vice versa, for you to be a compatible match. Get to know him more before forming that opinion. I think both of those comments go in line with kind of what I was saying of, as long as it represents you as you are, then you're fine. You're in the clear. I think it's just pre-date nerves, and that's totally to be expected. I, again, am very grateful that I don't have to have those unsettling pre-date feelings ever again. As of recording this story is actually about 2 years old, so who knows? Maybe it was wonderful and maybe they're married now, because I believe in love. This next story is from r/offmychest. I'm in love with my gym bro. I, male 22, fell in love with my gym bro, male 24. Problem being, I thought I was straight. This all started off a few months ago. I noticed this guy at my gym and I knew something was immediately off. I was nervous to even look at him, but I decided to get rid of that nervousness and just talk to him. He was actually really nice and funny, and we quickly became buddies. Then about 2 weeks later, my girlfriend broke up with me. I told him that, and we had a heart-to-heart where he casually came out as gay. But that initial offness that I felt when I first saw him didn't go away, and I quickly started to piece it together that it was the same feelings I get when I look at a really pretty girl. And over the months, it's been increasingly hard to get near him because he's just so gorgeous, I guess. Whenever I go to sleep, I just imagine him there snuggled up to me. I just want to text him all the time, and I want to kiss him so bad. I guess this is me coming out as bi. I met a beautiful guy at the gym and we became best friends. I love his personality. He makes me laugh nonstop. And not gonna lie, he's mad thick. I want to ask him out so bad. That last bit obviously is, first of all, funny. Second of all, that is such a gym bro thing to say. That's so funny. OP, good for you. Oh, that's so awesome to see you exploring those feelings and not just shutting them out and recognizing a pattern between your emotions towards a really pretty girl and now a really pretty guy, a really handsome guy, if you will. I'm really believing in love now. And we have updates. Update 1. At the gym right now, we're going to do our sets. And when we leave, I'm going to walk him to the car and tell him, thanks for the courage, everyone. Update 2. I'm f***ing crying in my car right now. Holy shit. He said yes. So I walked him to the car and I told him, and bruh, the way I couldn't speak, LMAO, I was so nervous. But basically he said he kind of thought I was into him because I can only catch you respectfully staring at my butt so many times before it's a little sus. But I told him that I'm bi, and we're going on a date on Friday. But bruh, he looked so flabbergasted and cute when I told him. He had the prettiest smile, LMAO. And for people saying stuff like my vocab and texting, I'm a history major, not smart. My vocab consists of, I guess, IDK, bruh, and f***. But anyways, I guess we're a little more than just gym bros now. I seriously couldn't have done this if I didn't get this much random ass support, LMAO. Anyway, I'm shaking. I actually did it. Bruh, I love him so much. Thank you for your support. Update 3 is actually a link to a Twitter status, which I cannot see whether it was deleted or whatnot, but we do have one final update, update number 4. Hey there, I know I've been gone for a long time, LMAO, but I had to take a social media break just because, I was just really overwhelmed, I guess, with all the attention this post got. Some of you were asking about Update 3. It was just me talking on Twitter about the insecure assholes calling me a woman for sharing emotions, LMAO. I deleted it because I felt a bit embarrassed having my voice on the internet. I'm too introverted for that, but I will be making occasional updates on my Twitter, I guess. As for how me and my man are doing, it's better than I ever could have asked for. I know we haven't been together super long, I guess, but he just I don't know. I've just never felt more appreciated by someone. So yeah, he's got me wrapped around his finger hella hard. But I think I'm gonna ultimately log out of this Reddit account, but still keep the post up for you guys. Just know my Twitter is where I'll be making updates occasionally. So this post, I reached into the depths a little bit. It is 3 years old, and I'm reading some of the comments, and they are just, like OP said in the updates, they are just unbelievably supportive and adorable. This is hands down the sweetest thing I've read in a while. Go for it and good luck. Go for it, that kind of crush deserves to play itself out. Keep in mind he may or may not be totally surprised. He may have already recognized your interest in him. Either way, deserves your honesty, and you deserve the opportunity to be honest with him. He may just want to be friends, or have other reasons for not reciprocating. If so, how lucky are you to have such an amazing friendship? I respect your bravery, and I'm happy for you. Please keep us posted. Part 2 of your story is going to be epic. OP's handle on Reddit is Lil Stupid Whore. And someone said, I don't know, your username kind of makes me think you've thought about it before now. And OP responded, LMAO, thanks for the roast, but honestly, looking back, I totally have had crushes on other men. I guess I just didn't recognize them at the time as crushes. I'm still just laughing at the he's mad thick though. Oh, that's so great. I love that. And it sounds like you already have a lot in common. And like I said, this is 3 years old, so who knows where they're at now. Again, I hope they're married and in love and everything's wonderful and yay. But either way, this just gives me so many warm feelings. Okay, now that we've properly exercised our tear ducts, we're going to move on to r/am I the a-hole? A classic. Gym etiquette. Female gym goer here. Am I the a-hole for simply wanting to get in and get out and not make friends with people? As with any gym, it gets busy and I have to engage with people to swap in and ask how many sets they have left. When I do this, I am friendly and respectfully ask with a smile. But that doesn't mean I want to be friends with you. Why do people then crave me smiling at them every time after the fact? I go to the gym at least 3 times a week, so it feels weird smiling at people I don't know and don't want to speak to. I don't owe these people a smile, or do I? Or am I a grumpy gym goer and need to smile back, lol? As a woman, I'm so hyper aware of making friends with strangers, so this does play into it, but thoughts would be appreciated. Hi OP, I'm a fellow female gym goer. I'm there 6, sometimes 7 days a week. So I see a lot of the same people for a significant chunk of time every day, basically. A small difference between me and you though, OP, is that I choose not to speak to people typically because I won't shut up. I know my boundaries, I know my limits, and I know my problems. So when I become friends with someone, it becomes one of those things where my workout goes from 2 hours to 4 hours because I can't shut up. And I like talking to people. And typically, people like talking to me. So it's almost a never-ending cycle of conversation if I let it get to that point. So my tactic to kind of prevent this massive time suck that is just basically inevitable because of who I am is to keep my head down and play a lot of Sudoku and Candy Crush on my phone between my sets. I do not engage. I try to avoid, except for maybe, I think there's about 3 people at my gym right now that I will speak to on a regular basis. But I try to not let my circle get too big because of my chatterbox problem. But that's, like I said, kind of the opposite of your situation, OP. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to not smile at people, especially at the gym, if you haven't had more of a, hey, can I use that kind of interaction? For example, I did not speak to anyone at my most recent gym that I switched to about 2 years ago now. I didn't speak to anyone for the first year that I worked out there. But like I said earlier, I'm very consistent with the time of day, so I see a lot of the same people. I don't think it's the end of the world to not smile at people, and if anyone gives you grief, they're weird. Honestly, my suggestion to you is to download a stupid little game app or watch TikToks between your sets so you can kind of avoid those interactions that might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable or like you owe someone a smile or any sort of interaction. We're going to stay on r/am I the a-hole for the rest of the video. And this next one is kind of a bit of a gray area in my opinion. And I'm honestly kind of curious what people will think in the comments about this one. Am I the a-hole for wanting my GF to go to the gym with me? My GF and I have been together for a few months now. We are together like glue, but she's not active at all. I'm in the military and being fit is a must. I love her with all my heart, and it's a big reason that I want her to be her healthiest self. The reason I ask, am I the a-hole, is because she says I only say I want her to go work out to be healthy is because I don't want to say the truth that I think she's ugly and too big for me. That's not the truth, though. I just can't convince her. If there's any questions, please ask. My English may seem kind of poor. So I've talked about my gym, my personal gym dedication, and I've also talked about my husband in this video. So we're going to bring those two topics together real quick. I am at the gym constantly. My husband, not so much. He doesn't go to the gym nearly as much as I do, and that's fine. But every once in a while, I will feel very similar to OP, honestly, in that I want him to be his healthiest self, and I want him to stick around. I want us both to live really long, really healthy lives. And it sucks because that's something that's very almost like close to home or a sensitive topic for a lot of people, because there is kind of a general belief in society that appearance equals health, which I can confirm that is not true, not 100% of the time, because this is what I look like when I got diagnosed with cancer. Yes, my fitness level and just my general overall health level made going through 5 surgeries in under a year an absolute breeze for me, but exercise and diet aren't the only things in life that matter or contribute towards your health. What does make me sad about this story, though, is the way that OP's girlfriend is kind of reacting. Almost kind of says to me that she is insecure about her body, and I feel for her for that for sure. The reason I started working out was because I got some really mean comments about my body here on our Lord and Savior Beyonce's internet. And so I completely understand where she's coming from of being almost offended that he would suggest that. But I also understand where OP is coming from, wanting his partner to be healthy and work on their personal fitness. Overall here, I don't think anyone's the a-hole. I do think it's a tough situation, and I do think it warrants some very candid conversations between OP and his girlfriend, and also a willingness on both of their parts to be vulnerable and honest, and also believe each other. In the end, you can't force someone to do something that they don't want to do, and it's going to be up to your girlfriend, OP, to determine whether or not she wants to change in this way. Okay, so remember how I mentioned sometimes I spend like 4 hours at the gym when I get chatting with my friends? That's relevant to this next story. Am I the a-hole for getting mad at my boyfriend for spending 4 hours at the gym? Oops. Basically the title, my 23F boyfriend, 24M, is fit. He's not a gym rat or anything, though as a matter of fact, it's been years since the last time he went. Relevant. He likes doing a fair amount of push-ups after work, regularly enjoys playing soccer with his friends whenever there's an opportunity. He's not particularly interested in healthy food or meal prep, but his meals are healthy-ish. He is strong. Lately he's been mentioning to me that his little belly is kind of bothering him, and he feels encouraged to work out. It's not even noticeable, by the way, so I assured him that it's nothing but support of his idea of working out because it's fun, and will probably ease his mind a little as he was stressing out and overthinking a lot lately. Yesterday, he did. He sent me very sexy photos after, sounded very refreshed, and felt generally good and accomplished. I will not lie to you. I felt so proud and happy for him that I was smiling like an idiot while texting him and asking all about it. I know how good it feels to break the routine, especially by doing something productive and enjoyable at the same time, other than video games and chess, which he usually goes to. He showered and slept right after, so we didn't talk much. But this morning, he mentioned that it's weird how he doesn't feel sore after that intense workout for 4 hours. My heart sank, and I pretty much lashed out right away saying how clueless he is. It's ridiculous to spend that much time in one session, not to mention it's his first in a really long time. We're long distance, so I can be overly protective because I love him. So many things could have gone wrong, but what makes me most angry is that he's planning to do it again. I simply Googled the maximum hours for a workout. It's 90 minutes reasonably, screenshotted it, and told him to slow the F down if he wants good results without harming himself. He basically brushed me off and then said something along the lines of, "It's weak and a loser mentality to want to build a good body with minimum efforts," as well as mentioning well-known swimmers and bodybuilders who spend 5+ hours no problem. That threw me off, honestly, comparing himself to all those professionals, and dismissing actual science to prove a point is so not like him at all. Now, I understand I came off as attacking and very criticizing, and that's what made him defensive. I will obviously apologize for overreacting, but I genuinely want him to not do this again. I'm a very anxious person, and I fear for his safety, especially when he's away. TLDR, my boyfriend thinks that a 4-hour workout is perfectly normal and thinks I'm discouraging him and calling him naive by saying that it's rather dangerous and inefficient. As someone who is no stranger to spending at least 2 hours plus in the gym, like I said, basically 6 days a week for the last 7 years, he's fine. He might be a little excited, and then he's going to do a workout that's going to make him so sore, sitting on the toilet hurts. And then he's going to ease it back. But like we talked about in the last story, you can't make decisions for people. I totally relate to being stressed about a long-distance relationship and wanting to be there, or just feeling nervous that you don't have your partner with you. But that's the point. You weren't with him. You didn't watch him do everything. You didn't see if he was playing Candy Crush on his phone between sets. A 4-hour workout doesn't mean you're literally moving or lifting or being active for 240 minutes straight. Let's just look at my workout today. Today I hit shoulders, and according to my glorious Garmin watch, which is one of the ways I track my workouts, my lifting workout was a total of 1 hour and 5 minutes. The time that I was actively doing sets, 19 minutes. And yes, part of that is because I'm still under a month post-op from my last surgery, so I am recovering and going a little bit slower. But if you take my ratio from today's shoulder workout and apply it to a 4-hour workout, that's only about 1 hour and like 15-20 minutes of actually physically doing things, which arguably you could do more if you spend 1 hour doing yard work because you're actively moving that whole time versus rest between sets or setup or changing machines or waiting on machines, heaven forbid, or using the restroom. There's a lot that happens at the gym that isn't necessarily pumping iron, you know? Unfortunately, OP, I kind of honestly think you're kind of the a-hole here. He was open enough to express to you that he wasn't feeling super stoked about his body image at the time, and then he did something to work on that and, like you said, get out of that regular routine that has had him feeling down for some time. And then you used Dr. Google and decided to kind of rain on his parade. And yes, there is something to be said about being overzealous and super excited to start something new and maybe going a little too hard at the beginning, but that doesn't mean you should shut him down. Just be his cheerleader and remind him that you care about him and his health and want to make sure that he is doing this in a productive, positive way. But don't just say, "I don't want you to do that again." Don't do that. Oh my gosh, you're going to hurt yourself. Spoiler alert, the comments kind of agree with me. Yes, the a-hole for lashed out right away, saying how clueless he is. That was disrespectful and invalidating. I get you have anxiety and worrying for him, but no excuse to lash out, especially when he says he's perfectly fine. Instead, ask what he did in that 4 hours and suggest hiring a trainer for a couple sessions to design an individual training plan. Yes. See, okay. Yeah, ask him. Communicate. Surprise. It's a Reddit story where someone needs to communicate. Every single gym I have been to has a team of personal trainers. A lot of them even offer some free trial sessions with a personal trainer where you could get something designed. Or, surprise, again, we have supercomputers in our pockets. That's my cat. We have supercomputers in our pockets. We have so much information accessible at the tips of our fingers. It's insanely easy in this day and age to find a workout split that works for you. I'm not going to read any more of the comments just because they kind of just roast her. Again, I kind of understand being stressed out about your long distance partner, especially when bad things can genuinely happen at the gym. You can severely injure yourself, and there have been cases of people passing in the gym due to bad equipment or bad choices, but it's okay. He's an adult. Express your concerns in a healthy and appropriate way, and then talk about it. That's all you have to do. For this next one, you're going to have to forgive me. It is not formatted at all, so I'm going to do my best to read through it nicely, but we'll see. Am I the a-hole for telling a guy at the gym to leave me alone? At the beginning of this year, I decided I wanted to commit to working out again. At first, I started at home in my garage, and more recently, I decided to join an actual gym again. It's only a 4-minute drive from my husband and I's house, so it's perfect. Here's my problem, though. 2 weeks ago, while I was deadlifting, a guy came up to me and interrupted my workout to tell me that I was rounding my back, and I could get seriously injured that way. I was kind of annoyed because I don't like it when people give me unsolicited advice and interrupt my workouts, as well as what he was saying just wasn't true. Because I wasn't rounding my back at all, as I used to compete in powerlifting for a few years before I took a 2-year break from the gym. I know what proper form is and how to keep it. He seemed like a nice guy, so I just told him thanks, but I've got it. That was the end of the interaction. The next day, as I was in the gym, the same guy comes up to me and interrupts my workout again to ask me my name. I tell him my name, he tells me his, and I put my headphones back on and continue my workout. I know I may have come off a little bit rude, but like I said, I don't like being bothered in the gym. Unless you're asking me how many sets I have left so you can use the equipment next, there's nothing to talk to me about, and I don't want to engage in conversation. That's just how I am. When I was about to leave, he stops me again and hands me his phone to put my number into and tells me that we should train sometime. I told him that if I was going to train with anyone, it would be my husband, and I declined his phone. I thought that might let him know that I'm not really interested, but over the course of 2 weeks, he's been constantly trying to speak to me, interrupting me whenever he sees me, trying to get to know me on a personal level. He's asked me out for smoothies after the gym multiple times, and he's tried once more to get my number. I constantly remind him that I'm happily married. I usually just fake smile and laugh and respond very short and simple anytime we speak. Like I said, he seems like a nice guy, but I'm not in the gym to make friends or cheat on my husband. I truly just want to work out and listen to my music, but I'm constantly having to take my headphones off to give this man attention, and now I'm spending more time in the gym because I have to catch up on what I'm really there to do, and the talking is distracting and it's wasting a lot of time. So yesterday, while at the gym, he comes up to me while I'm in the middle of a set of goblet squats, and he taps me on the shoulder to get my attention. He snuck up behind me and did it so it really startled me, and I dropped the weight. I finally had enough and snapped. I took my headphones off and told him to leave me the fuck alone. He told me he was just trying to say hi, and I guess he was embarrassed or something because he just walked out of the gym after that. I found that weird because didn't you come here to work out too? It's like he only came for me, and when I told him to leave me alone, he just left. I finished my workout and left. Now, today I'm kind of worried about going to the gym because I know he'll be there, and I honestly don't want to deal with this anymore. I simply want to work out. Am I the a-hole here, though? Should I apologize to him when I see him today? You're not the a-hole. Not in my eyes, at least. I think this is perfectly understandable. I genuinely believe that a lot of people see the gym as a social place, and that's fine if that's for you. But you have to remember that that's not how everyone sees the gym. Some people don't want to talk because they talk too much and then it takes forever. Other people don't want to talk at all because they don't give a shit to talk to random strangers when they have something they're trying to accomplish, like a workout. The first part of the story where he decided to correct your form, I have some thoughts on that specifically. I've had to bite my tongue so hard while watching a pair of dudes doing good mornings with way too much weight and bending further than a 90-degree angle to the point where they're having to struggle to keep the bar on their back and not let it slide up and just pop their head off like a Lego. And I couldn't say anything because it's not my business. It's not my responsibility, nor is it my business. If someone wants help, they will ask. If someone wants help, they will hire a trainer because they exist. Don't give unsolicited advice in the gym. Just don't. It might be cringe. It might be painful to watch someone do something that you legitimately know for a fact is incorrect, but just tell yourself, not my circus, not my monkeys, and move on. It's that easy. That kind of set the stage for me thinking that you're not the a-hole. But then I wanted to give the dude a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he was just crushing on you. Maybe he was just crushing on you, and maybe he thought he had a chance. But then when you say, hey, my husband is the only person I'm ever going to work out with, and he just keeps trying, it sucks that we have to say, no, I'm already claimed, to get people to potentially maybe leave you alone. But he clearly feels entitled to your attention in some way, shape, or form for some reason. I have no idea, but I don't think you're the a-hole. You should never approach someone ever in the gym when they're actively doing a set. Ever. Do not do that. That is dangerous for you and for them and for everyone in the surrounding area. Like OP said, she dropped the weight because she was startled. That could have broken your foot, or his foot, or caused an injury, which at that point, who's liable? Then you have legal stuff. Then you have medical bills. It's a whole can of worms. Don't interrupt someone mid-set. Don't feel entitled to someone's attention because you're in a common public area. This is the type of behavior that needs to be reported to gym management. While yes, everyone who typically goes to a gym has paid for a membership and has the right to be there, you don't have the right to make people uncomfortable or cross people's boundaries, even in a public shared space. Report this man and get that creep out of that gym. You'll be saving yourself and probably other women a hell of a lot of trouble. And yes, the comments agree with me on this one. Surprise! The nice guy but clueless act is a manipulation technique by a predator. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he relies on the natural reluctance of those around him to make a scene when he's there gently pushing the envelope to see just how much he can get away with. You gave him plenty of polite. Polite didn't work. Neither did a steady diet of less and less polite. He wasn't having it. So you finally end up at the leave me the fuck alone, whereupon he gets to play the wounded puppy, and you feel like you overreacted publicly. He knew perfectly well what he was doing, escalating and escalating, ignoring your boundaries except insofar as he could carefully encroach on them, to the point where he's touching you without your permission. A big boundary violation. Not to mention physically unsafe, as he startled you and you dropped the weights, which could have gotten a lot worse. You should report him to management and get him booted out for your safety as well as the safety of those around you. And everybody clapped. Get him kicked out. And also, I really hope you told your husband that this dude is creeping on you, just so someone can corroborate your story, because, creepy. Don't end up in a true crime doc. Speaking of husbands, our next story. Am I the a-hole? Husband wants a divorce because I'm not excited to go to the gym. Ew. I, 30F, married my husband, 35M, in July of last year. When we first met, I was into lifting weights several times a week, rock climbing, and have previously had the NASM personal training certification. NASM, or NASM, stands for National Academy of Sports Medicine. He loved that I was so active in the beginning of our relationship, but that's changed for a few reasons. One, he became very controlling over my workouts. He insisted I went in the mornings with him. I hate morning workouts. And that I do all of his specific workout routines with him. He did not want to compromise on either of these issues. One of these workouts ended up doing permanent damage to my back. When I was single, I really enjoyed working out in the afternoons and doing my own exercise routines. That changed when I started dating him because his mindset was, if we're not going to work out together, I guess we might as well do everything separately. 2, I got on birth control and I had immediate bad mental setbacks. I was depressed, lost my interest in doing most things, and began to gain weight. I tried to push through and go anyway, but really struggled to get off the couch. I was very communicative with him about how it was affecting me mentally and emotionally, and he seemed to take that to heart. 3, once he drunkenly called me fat, among other things, and said, "It's no wonder you don't post photos of yourself on Instagram anymore. You're huge now." He does not remember saying this, but I do. And it made me really resent the gym for my workouts not having the same effect they did pre-birth control, and up to the point he said this. 4, he told me several times I lied to him about who I was when we first met, that I'm now not active enough for him, unproductive, unexcited to go to the gym, and it's not the kind of wife he wants, so he wants a divorce. 5, in the months since we married, I've gone through a job change and have also moved across the country with him. Both have been stressful situations, and that stress has sapped a lot of my energy. I recently switched my birth control in hopes of mitigating the depression and the lack of desire to go to the gym. I did it for myself as much as for him, but I really wanted him to see it as a step to fix the issue he brought up, that he hates how inactive I am. I also made a point of going to the gym with him every morning he asks. We've done free trials at 4 gyms this month. I've gone with him every time. I've said several times in the middle of a workout how good I feel, trying to show my enthusiasm. I also walk my dog for at least an hour every day. I get a lot of steps in while I'm cleaning our apartment and running errands. We also play with a frisbee together as often as I suggest it. I try to be as active as I can be right now, given our tight budget after the big move. Tonight, as a continuation of a completely unrelated argument, he brought this up again, yelling that I'm lazy, unexcited for the gym, unproductive, and that all I do is sit around. I tried to point out the improvements I've been making, but he's dead set that we're incompatible because when I agree to go to the gym with him, I'm not excited. I genuinely feel like I've made steps in the right direction, but maybe I'm overestimating my actions. So, am I the a-hole? OP, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. I don't think it's about going to the gym. I know I sound like a broken record, but when people show you who they are, believe them. This man is asking for a divorce to undo a legal binding contract with you over going to the gym. Either he can't face the truth and be honest with you, or he's that shallow and doesn't actually give a shit about you or your relationship. I really want to know why you're fighting this, honestly. And OP said in the last month since they've gotten married, she has gone through a job change and they've also moved across the country. And no matter the reason for those things, that's a lot to handle. To uproot your daily lives and change everything about your normal routine can be quite disruptive and have quite the mental toll. And in my opinion and my experience in a healthy relationship, when you're going through those intense changes, you're supposed to prop each other up and help each other. If one partner is struggling, the other partner steps it up. If one partner is struggling, it's the responsibility and typically the privilege of the other person to step up and help them through it. It sounds like you've kind of been struggling with all the birth control issues and the changes to your life. And your husband is not stepping up. If anything, he's stomping you down and not recognizing the effort you're putting in to address the issues that he brought up and that he is deeming worthy of a divorce. Some of the comments read, info, why are you with/married to someone who's terrible to you? Not the a-hole. However, you do need a divorce. Your husband doesn't love you. The comments about your physical appearance and him continuing to berate you despite changing your lifestyle for him make it seem to me that rather than valuing that you were active, he valued the appearance you got from the gym. That or nothing will ever be good enough for him now. His true colors are showing, and this controlling, verbally abusive behavior will only get worse no matter what you do until the next thing you know, you may have a black eye. If he truly cares about you and your mental health, he would be a positive influence in your life rather than constantly berating you when you're struggling through a depression caused by birth control, which I assume you went on for him. Get out while you can. You deserve better. OP, I hope you took him up on that offer, and I hope you're out of this by now. And I hope you found someone that values you as you, instead of just someone who might have a nice butt from weightlifting. Oh, Sorry, what? The next story? Oh, yeah. Am I the a-hole for avoiding a stranger at the gym after she commented on my weight? I was at the gym one time. I usually keep to myself and never talk to or interact with anyone. In return, no one talks to me, which I'm okay with. One time, I was on the stair climber machine beside one lady. I finish and the lady on the machine besides me grabs my attention and says, "Hey," as she takes out her earphones. She smiles and said, "I've noticed you around. You look like you've lost a bit of weight. You should really be proud of yourself." I actually felt really uncomfortable with it and just said thanks back. In the days after, I just never used that machine again and walked back and forward in the long way around the gym to avoid her. Another day, she happened to run into me again in another weights machine area of the gym. She gets on the machine beside me and awkwardly says, "Hi." I just say hi back without making eye contact or talking further. Am I the a-hole for avoiding her? I don't think anyone is technically the a-hole here, specifically because I know she most likely meant that as a compliment and was trying to be supportive and uplifting. However, I don't blame you at all, OP, for feeling uncomfortable at someone commenting on your body. Even at a place like the gym where many people are there to work on their physical appearance, that doesn't mean that everyone's there to work on their physical appearance. And that also doesn't mean that being there gives you a free pass to comment on anyone's body. However, I will say, if someone tells me I'm looking jacked, I love that. I love that attention. However, it's pretty obvious that that would be taken by me as a compliment. I make it a point whenever I want to talk to someone, especially in the gym, if I want to give them a compliment, I focus on things that are not physical appearance, unless it's like their hair and they got their hair done. I'll say, "Hey, nice shoes." Or I'll say, "Hey, I've noticed your consistency. It's awesome to see you here all the time." Or, "Hey, are you new here? I haven't seen you around. Maybe we just have missed paths, but it's good to see you. Nice to meet you. My name's Hannah." Like, I'm not going around and being like, "Hey, fatty, you're looking less fatty." No. And again, that's not what this lady said, but like I mentioned in one of my other previous videos, there's intent versus impact. She may have very well had the intention to be a nice, positive, admirable compliment, but the impact was poor OP felt uncomfortable and probably more perceived than she wanted to feel in that moment. Especially if OP was in the gym with the goal to lose weight. Now she knows that people are watching her, which in my experience is really uncomfortable sometimes, even for me. As a gym person for the last almost decade of my life, and someone who has the muscles that I've worked for, sometimes people watching me makes me really uncomfortable, even in my current state. And so I don't think anyone sucks here, and I think you're justified to not really want to have a conversation with this stranger, because that's what they are to you, a stranger in a public place that just so happens to be around you. I don't think it's weird to not accept this as a compliment, but I think it's important to remind yourself that they may have meant it as a compliment, not to shut yourself down or to minimize your own feelings, but just maybe as a tiny silver lining of this uncomfortable experience to just remind yourself that it was most likely meant as a compliment, but I don't blame you at all for being uncomfortable in this situation or wanting to avoid them moving forward. Lord knows I've gotten some weird compliments at the gym before. Alrighty, we are almost done, but I think I saved the best, the juiciest for last, even just from the title. This is going to be quite the ride. Am I the a-hole for yelling at a person with special needs at the gym? I, 29M, have been going to the same gym for the last 10 years. There are a number of trainers that appear to work exclusively with people that have special needs, both physically and mentally. They work in one-to-one sessions, trainers showing them how to use each machine safely and putting together an exercise program for them, and they're also often accompanied by a guardian. I want to say straight away that I have zero issues with this at all. I love going to the gym, and it's great to see others enjoying it too. As long as everyone is working out in a safe way, everything is fine. I've seen what I would call a few near misses with weights being dropped close to others or machines being used improperly, but I've never seen anyone be seriously hurt. So today I entered the gym and walked past a trainer I hadn't seen before. She was with a guy that I had seen a few times before. I'm not sure what his condition is, so I apologize if any of the following sounds offensive. I didn't intend for it to, I'm just explaining what happened. As I walked past, he was loudly counting the number of reps he was doing on the leg press. I continued over to the dumbbells, got set up on a bench, and started my workout. After a couple of sets, the guy came over and stood next to my bench, about a meter away from me, just staring at me. His trainer was still over at the leg press on her phone. It was a little awkward with him standing there, but he wasn't in my way, so I didn't say anything. As soon as I pick up the weight from the bench, he sits down on the bench. As I noticed what he was doing, I just said, "I'm using that bench, mate." But he proceeds to start doing sit-ups and again loudly counts them out. So this guy is lying back on my towel, wallet, and phone. I repeat, "Mate, I'm using this one," as I put down the weights and try to pull all my belongings out from under his sweaty back. I guess, hearing the counting, the trainer noticed what happened and came over and apologizes. I just give a nod but don't say anything. I wasn't exactly impressed that she hadn't been keeping a better eye on him. I moved a few benches over and thought that was the end of it. Next, I was on the bench press, so holding a large amount of weight over my chest. The guy comes over again and stands right next to the bench, in line with my face, right where I need to put the weight back on the rack, just staring down at me. Again, I say calmly, "You need to move, mate. I need to put the weight down." He just stares at me, half smiling. I asked him twice more, and he just continued staring. Not a single sign that he had understood or even heard me. So I called out loudly for help. Luckily, the trainer heard, again coming over to apologize and pull him out of the way. I put the weight back, and then said to her that she needs to keep an eye on him because he's going to end up getting himself seriously hurt. Some time passes without incident. They're on the other side of the gym, and I'm on one of the cable machines doing tricep pushdowns. I get to my last rep of my last set, and just as I push down 50 kilograms or 110 pounds of metal raised in the air, from out of nowhere, this guy lets out a huge scream and lunges at the raised weight stack in front of me. Now this is what went through my head in the moment. I'm on my last rep, so I probably had about 2 seconds that I could hold the weight before my muscles fail and the weight came crashing down. With that weight, there was a good chance that he would be seriously injured, lost or crushed fingers, broken hand, arm, etc. I knew that my last attempt of speaking calmly had yielded zero response from him, and I didn't have time to call for his negligent trainer to come help. I screamed at the top of my lungs, "Get away from it!" The guy jumped back like he'd had the fright of his life. I lowered the weights and immediately turned around, enraged and looking for the trainer. Well, she was already on her way over, no doubt because she'd heard me yell. "What the hell are you doing? Did you see what he just did?" I asked as the guy starts loudly crying. She comes over and asks why I would yell at him, since he doesn't know any better. I again asked if she'd seen what happened and that he was almost seriously hurt. And yeah, he didn't know better, which is exactly why she should have been there to watch him. I guess the guy's guardian, maybe his mother, unsure, had heard everything as well. She came in and the trainer immediately tells her that I yelled at him for standing too close. I tried to explain that he was almost seriously hurt and that he wasn't being supervised properly. We went back and forth, but the trainer and the guardian were not satisfied with my explanation, calling me an a-hole for raising my voice to him like that. Next thing I know, they've called one of the other trainers from the gym who told me to leave, and that they'd be suspending my membership, before I was able to explain to him my side of the story. I plan on speaking to the manager or another trainer tomorrow, and I'm hoping that it was captured clearly enough on the CCTV that I can get my membership back. I know from the title of this post it sounds bad, but with everything else, I don't really think that I had any other option. Am I the a-hole? Like that last sentence said, the title sounded really bad. But as someone who has seen too many horrible gym fail compilations of people getting seriously injured, I think you did what was best in that really difficult situation. The person who failed him the most is that personal trainer and potentially his guardian. If someone needs supervision, it's important that they receive that supervision for their own safety. It shouldn't have been up to you to be the one keeping him safe, especially in a dangerous place like a gym. The other day, a 10-pound dumbbell slipped out of my hand and crushed one of my fingers, and that hurt for a good, 20 minutes. So 110 pounds? I don't even want to know what that would do to my poor little phalanges, let alone this guy who is just not being watched properly by the person who's responsible for him at that time. All the comments seem to have the consensus of not the a-hole. Someone shares their own personal experience. I have a special needs child, and if they had gotten into a similar situation, I'd be very angry with the inattentive trainer, not the person trying to do a workout. Talk to the manager and insist on viewing the CCTV. Trust me, in the long term, that person's guardian will be glad to know the trainer is bad so they can protect their child. Someone else says, launch a formal complaint for failing safety practices. Also, launch a complaint with a disability advocates about the lack of safety and proper watching of clients the gym is displaying. It's dangerous. Edit, as a support worker, they failed to provide the proper supervision required. This alone should be reported as a breach of duty of care. Likewise, the gym owed you a duty of care which it failed. It's a shame you don't know the person's details. OP, if the manager fails to take the evidence and reprimand the trainer and reinstate you, then absolutely do this as a public service. No, you're not being a Karen, you're possibly saving lives. News groups in your area might be interested too. And now, for the update. I had a lot of people asking for an update, so here it is. Thank you everyone for the advice. I'm a stress head, so I was playing the events over and over in my head all last night. Your comments helped keep me calm and feel more positive about the whole thing. So for the update, I went by the gym this morning and asked to speak to the manager about what had happened yesterday. They agreed to see me. I explained everything as I had in my post and asked if they could review the CCTV to see what actually happened and possibly reinstate my membership. I said that I believe the trainer yesterday had misrepresented what happened, as a lot of you pointed out, to hide the fact that she was neglecting the guy she was meant to be supervising. Surprisingly, he said this wasn't the first time they had received complaints about this trainer. He said she'd only been there for 2 weeks and had already had a complaint from both a client and another trainer from the gym, though he didn't go into detail about what those complaints were. He said to leave it to him and he'd get back to me. About an hour ago, I got a call from the manager saying he'd reviewed the footage and it was consistent with my story. The first 2 interactions I had with him, with the dumbbells and on the bench press, were clear in the footage. The third time was apparently obscured by some other equipment, but he said it was enough to see the guy approach me from behind without the trainer, and he was willing to take my word about what happened next. My gym membership has been reinstated, and they've given me the next 2 months free. I think I'll be putting my money I saved towards a nice bottle of whiskey. He also said not to worry about the trainer. She won't be around anymore. So I think it's safe to assume she lost her job. Hopefully this is a wake-up call for her and she won't be putting anyone else in harm's way in the future. Thank you again all for your support and advice. As crappy of a situation as that was, I think that was for sure the best outcome. I'm really glad OP got his gym membership back, as I don't think he was at fault at all. While the poor guy probably didn't know what he was doing or the danger he was getting into, it was the trainer's fault for not being there to support him and foster a safe and good and fun and uplifting gym environment. Gyms can definitely be dangerous if the proper precautions and safety measures are not taken. All right. Stretch it out, which is something gym bros usually skip. Do it. Oh, my shoulder popped. My elbow popped. I'm just popping. Yay. Look, that's my armpit lymph node removal scar from cancer. All right, it is time for me to stop this recording and go back a couple videos and edit that. So thank you for joining me on this mental workout that we shared together. Feel free to like and subscribe if you so choose. I would appreciate it. And let me know what you think of each story in the comments, or if anything stood out to you specifically, or maybe I got something wrong. Maybe I was off base. I don't know. Let me know. What are you looking for? Oh yeah. It's over there. See ya. Forgot how good these are.